What's up, good people? Welcome to the latest Terrible Towel post-game show. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and we're going to wait a few moments, guys, as I get some people up in here. You guys know how I do. I'm going to share out the link with 3 special people, and then we'll get it cracking. And then, you know, I'll give you my quick off-the-top-of-the-head thoughts about the game and, you know, what transpired this season, etc., etc. Talk a little bit about that. And then there you have it. So give me just a moment. Let me get my good brother Tony in here. I'm going to send the link to Floyd. You guys know I always reference him. And then also sending a link to my father-in-law, Leonard. We'll do a quick roll call, and then we'll get into it, all right? So let's see. What do we got here? Got a little bit of notes there. I'm probably not going to need them that much, but I got a few notations. So what's up? What's good, Steeler Nation? How y'all feeling, man? I know y'all not feeling good, but hey, we should have not been feeling good for a couple weeks now. And yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. So all right, let's jump right into this thing. Let's see who we got all in the chat. Let's see. Jordan Mid, Nays, Real Facts, Scott Satodi, James Jones, Jesse Williams, Eli Coolin, Tony Carlson, my boy Murata's in the building, JJ Walker, Tyrese Harris, my good brother Tony, Liddell Naismith, Van Robinson, my brother Kenyon Wright, Christian Gonzalez, Ollie Heyward, and Clifton Millender. And that's all we're going to call out for right now. Let's go ahead and get into some of the information about the game. Let me pull up Skype, guys, in case some of you guys want to come on tonight. Again, we're going to stick to the 2-minute time frame on your calls or what have you. But let me pull that up because I don't want anything to distract me, and then we'll jump right in it. Sorry for not being more prepared, guys, but you know, my battery was running kind of low. That's another reason why I got to keep an eye on the time tonight. My battery was running low on the, you know, my camera. And shout outs to my boy. Let's give my man Antoine Myers a round of applause. Appreciate the donation there, man. You know, he's a Cowboy fan, so, you know, shout-outs to you, Cowboy fan. And, guys, no, that's not $499. It's $4.99. Come on, man. That's not $499, man. I mean, I wouldn't even – I would give that back to Twan if he donated that much. Now, guys, I got to tell you guys really, really quick, I have forgotten my Skype password. I changed it, and I don't remember it. I'm going to try to sign in. Give me a second, man, and if it doesn't work, won't be able to take any phone calls tonight, so let's see if I can recall it really quick. I don't think I do. I don't think I do. So, in that case, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. I think they're going to, there's a way that I can send myself the, hold on real quick. Sorry, guys. Hold on real quick. They about to send me a confirmation text, and I should be able to sign in. All right, so let me type that in. Sorry, guys, man. I'm a little disgruntled tonight. New password. I'm not going to do all that, man. I'll try to recover it later. All right, man. Again, not going to be able to take any calls tonight because I can't get Skype working. I apologize for that. Let's talk turkey. So we're not going to make the playoffs. I don't understand why so many people are so upset about that in this week. Why are we waiting until week 17 to act like we're so upset about not making the playoffs? We should have seen this a mile away. You know, we should have seen this coming from miles and miles away. Let me address the elephant in the room really, really quick. Let's go ahead and attack this, and then we're going to be off of it. In regards to Mike Tomlin, I will not be responding to any comments that are not legitimate comments about why he should be fired. Let me explain what I'm saying. I don't want to hear, oh, he needs to go. That's not good enough for me. If it's not a legitimate coaching reason, I'm not going to address it. I'm happy to debate with you guys. But if it's just some random fire this, fire that, and there's no, you know, context behind it, I'm not even going to respond. How do I feel about Mike Tomlin? Listen, Mike Tomlin, hey, I think he's been a solid coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Has he underachieved? He has, with the offense that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. Our defense hasn't improved. We've tried to improve. You know, it looks like we got a stud in TJ Watt. It just has not improved, you know, over the last 4 to 5 years. We got to give some of that blame to Kevin Colbert. We got to give some of that blame to the Rooneys, Art Rooney in particular, the guys who cut the check. We got to give some of that blame to them as well because we don't go out and seek free agents. You know, the Steelers don't do that. But I think it's time for a little bit of a change there. We got to be a little more risque. Also, I know we talk about the sub 500 teams that, you know, Tomlin doesn't do that well with. You know, he's now 18 for 12. And shout outs to Mariano Papa. Give him a round of applause. Appreciate that, Mariano. Appreciate the donation. Back to Tomlin and the Steelers. He's now 18 for 12 against sub 500 or below 500 teams. It's not great, but it's not the worst. You know, he's improved it over the years, but we ran into that trouble again this year. We shouldn't have lost to the Oakland Raiders. Now, I understand Ben Roethlisberger went out the game. I think if Ben stays in that particular game, we probably scored enough points to win. However, we had the lead. All we had to do was stop the Oakland Raiders. We did not, okay? The Steelers have given up 5 fourth-quarter leads this season. Count them, 5. So that means that we've lost 5 games that we were winning in the fourth quarter. How does that happen? Defensively, we just didn't get it done. We didn't get it done. And like I said, everybody's going to have their own opinion about who needs to go, who shouldn't. If you can't give me information that we can all acknowledge to be true, then I can't really entertain the comment. You understand what I'm saying? If we're just speculating, you know, because a lot of times it's speculation what the coach doesn't do, what the coach does do. None of us know. We don't have facts of these. The things that I have facts about when it comes to Mike Tomlin, I'm not talking about the rest of the coaching. The things I have facts about Mike Tomlin. I don't like the time management. Sometimes, you know, quite a few times, this time management is very bad. I'll be the first one to admit that. The challenge ratio, very bad. And even sometimes when he doesn't challenge, we could disagree. Those things he haven't been good at. Outside of that, I don't have a lot of complaints about him. I am not the person who believes, and you know, me and my father-in-law Leonard was having this conversation during the game, and I told him, look, that's what you believe, great. I don't believe this. I do not believe in the theory of when people say coaches didn't have the team ready to play. For any coach, I don't believe in that theory. I believe that they go into it with the same game plan and the players need to execute. Now, of course, we do watch football games. We watch all kinds of games when it looks like the team is not giving their effort, giving their all. I get it. But you're not going to get me to believe in a professional sport, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. You're not going to get me to believe that the coach just decides that we're just not going to prepare this week. And they don't try to have their team prepared. You're not going to get me to believe that. If the team comes out flat, they do. It happens. It shouldn't have happened against the Bengals, considering how they haven't been great defensively, how they got a lot of injuries out there defensively. They got a lot of injuries on the offense. Game shouldn't have been that close. And I'm going to explain to you why the game was close. Shouldn't have been that close. Period. Should not have been that close. But it was, okay? And I'll explain to you again why the game was close. But either way, listen, y'all can say what y'all want. And for you guys that want him gone, I hope you get your wish. I hope you get your wish, and I hope he gets fired and coaches a team that beat us in the Super Bowl. And then let's see what you got to say. Because I'm telling you, and I'm being facetious, man, and I'm being funny here, but guys, listen, the problem to me with the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least to me, is not Mike Tomlin. Is he completely off the hook? Absolutely not. He's the head man. But if you are expecting him to be fired after the season and the record that he has, I don't see where you expect any organization to fire a coach with the record and the stability that he's had for the Steelers. Now, we are all hurt because we haven't won a championship since Le'Veon Bell Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger have been a trio. I get it. But I'm just trying to get y'all to understand that is not going to happen. I don't know why people really think that's going to happen. Now, I would be very surprised if they do. I would be very surprised, and to be frankly honest, I'd be a little upset if they were to fire the coach, because I don't think the head coach is the main problem. Now, philosophy needs to change, man. We need to change some things. We need to change the way the organization defensively, the way we approach football games. Whether that comes from Tomlin down to Butler and, down on to the rest of the, the other positional coaches, there needs to be some changes made. There needs to be some real changes made on the defensive side of the ball, and I'll tell you exactly why. One perfect example. All of you guys were probably watching the Browns and Ravens game, at least at the end, after the Steelers game was over. And, Jarvis Landry makes a phenomenal catch, keeps his hand under the ball. They call it a catch. They're driving. We're all thinking, come on, Cleveland, all you need is a field goal, right? What did the Ravens do? Baker Mayfield missed some throws, absolutely. But what did the Ravens do? They kept applying the pressure. They didn't sit back, even on that fourth down. They brought the heat from way out in the secondary. Baker has to throw the ball quick, throws an interception, and Mosley makes an outstanding play. Game over. Okay, let's rewind back to the 3rd and 20 with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. We constantly go into the shell coverage all the time. It's so predictable. We always do it in these high leverage moments. Situational football with the Steelers, defensively and offensively. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We have to make some changes. We have to make some changes. We have to. It's pathetic. We always run it in deploying the same type of drop zones and things like that when it's so easy to diagnose. The Saints called a great play against us, and I might come back and diagnose that play again, because when I did it on last Tuesday, I put more blame on Hilton. But actually, the more I looked at that play, I think it was more Morgan Burnett, where you got to get more depth on that play. We'll show that again. Excuse me. Maybe I'll remember to show it this coming Tuesday. But regardless, in situational time, man, we're too predictable. It's easy to pick us apart defensively. Some things need to change there. We need to change their culture there, which probably means we need to let Butler. It's probably time for him to go. At least some of those secondary guys like Joey Porter, as much as I loved him as a player, we haven't seen real development, and some of the other defensive staff. I think it's time for some shakeups. I don't know if they get rid of Bradley since he's brand new, but it's time to make some significant changes on that side of the ball. And I think Dunbar might be safe, but we at least got to go for the defensive coordinator position. And I'm thinking even an outside linebacker position coach. That's where we're gonna have to make some real changes. And that's just how I feel about it. I mean, I'm not sitting here expecting that Mike Tomlin is going to be fired. And it's not about whether I like him or dislike him. I just don't, as a fan, I got to be a realist. I don't see that happening. So to me, you're just wasting time and energy trying to say why he should. But again, I'm willing to listen to any legitimate reasons. Legitimate reasons why you think as a coach, coaching ways, not speculation, things that you can prove why you think he should be fired. Because again, we don't know. Again, me and my father-in-law having a conversation about, he don't have a team prepared. We don't know these things. We're not inside of that locker room. Now, mind you, I might add, that was more of the conversation in the first half. I ain't hear this in the second half. I wonder why. Was it because the defense turned around, they started playing better in the second half? See, I need people to keep the same energy regardless of whether we win or lose. I want to talk to those people. I don't want to talk to the wishy-washy. I want to talk to the people who, regardless of whether the Steelers are winning or losing, they don't like Tomlin. I'm willing to have a conversation with you guys, because then I know that's real. It's not, results driven. So let's talk about the game a little bit. Let me tell y'all why the game was really close. Y'all see how important Antonio Brown is to the Pittsburgh Steelers offense? Wow. Now, James Conner came back and he looked good for the most part. I wish we could have tried to run the ball a little more. I still think we have become too much of a passing team. But guys, do y'all see the effects when Antonio Brown ain't out there? Because all they was doing was doubling Juju, and sometimes they was putting bracket coverage on Vance McDonald. So that's leaving James Washington, which he made a nice catch on a nice deep ball by Roethlisberger. If Roethlisberger get a little more air under that, might be a touchdown. But it leaves James Washington, Eli Rogers, and at times Ryan Switzer to beat their men one-on-one. It wasn't happening. There was a lot of checkdowns in the game. There were also bad throws by Ben Roethlisberger. Let's not forget the pick six. Okay? You take 7 of those points off the board, the defense didn't do as bad. Okay? They did give up a big run in the second half. I didn't like that. To Joe Mixon, 41-yard run. The tackling was horrendous on that play. But, again, the defense wasn't really the problem today. It was the offense. Let me look at some of my notations. We get the ball first. We run a reverse to Eli Rogers that gets blown up, lost to 4. Vance McDonald gets called for a false start. But then Ben picks up a first down by going to a tight end screen to Vance McDonald. We should have been going more to McDonald today as well, even though, like I said, sometimes they have bracket coverage on him. But then the Steelers were unable to convert on 3rd and 4, and we punt the ball away. And it was holding on the long snapper. Okay, so the Steelers, we get a 3-and-out on defense on the following series. Then once again, Steelers offense goes 3-and-outs on the second possession. Ben then throws a pick 6. Okay? Got to give credit to Randy Fiedner. He called the Grimble play on that 4th and 1. That was the same play that we ran in Denver. It popped wide open. And this time, thank goodness, Grimble didn't fumble it like he fumbled the touchdown away in Denver. And that's about all I got, man. T.J. Watt balled out. We got a 3-and-out when we needed to. The defense did. T.J. Watt forces a strip sack. T.J. Watt clearly, man, was the best defender, overall defender, and for our defense. And Cody Sensabaugh made some plays today, you know, on the last drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, bottom line, man, what happened in this particular game, again, I didn't like the situational stuff. Randy Fiedner, there was too many times, man, when it was 3rd and 4. And it's like we're taking a deep shot or, you know, we're trying to run those screens. And it's like, let's get a little more creative. I thought there was too many times that we were passing the ball on 1st down and 2nd and 10 and things like that instead of trying to make it a little more manageable because James Conner did okay. You know, he popped a couple of runs, you know, and I don't think he had a run for loss in the game. I don't understand sometimes the approach that we take. We are very pass heavy. And obviously, if you can run the football, clearly you can see how that could work for you. Look at the Baltimore Ravens, okay? Now, here's another thing that I don't like. Roethlisberger, I've told you guys this before. Ben has become Brett Favre, man. Look at some of them throws in that game, let alone the pick 6. Where, you know, Williams was just lurking in the middle of the field and Ben throws it right to him. Let alone that. Look at all of the other throws. Ben had 3 other throws in that game early in the game that could have been picks. Jesse Bates almost had a pick, which is the guy I wish we would have drafted just to be that ball hawk. I would have loved to have had Jesse Bates. No disrespect to Terrell Edmonds, but I would have loved to have had Jesse Bates. But again, Ben was forcing it. It was times that he was forcing it to Juju. You know, usually that's Antonio Brown. But again, like I said, you can see how the offense was stalling without having Antonio Brown taking double teams to allow Juju to get more one-on-one looks, which he can a lot of times win those. We had to rely on other guys. And like I said, from time to time, another guy made a play. Eli Rogers made a nice play to pick up a 1st down on that last drive. Okay? James Washington, another, you know, again, a deep throw down the right side when we were going the, you know, the opposite way down the field. So guys made a couple plays here and there. Here's another thing that scares me. Well, we ain't going to nowhere anyway. Boy, if we would have gotten to the playoffs, that kicker, McCrane, okay, he was 3 for 3, but the boy can't kick the ball out of the end zone. Every one of his kicks, do y'all realize every one of his kicks that Erickson was catching them on the 15 or better? Wow. The Bengals had outstanding field position every day. Every kickoff. Every kickoff, their field position was exactly what you wish for. Okay? Just ugly game offensively. The defense started putting the clamps on it. And matter of fact, let me see if I got it, man. I want to look at the final stats of that game real quick. Defense did all right, man. You know, we got some pressure. We got some sacks. You know, to it. And Cam Heyward with that big monstrous sack late in the game. What else? What else I want to cover, guys? TJ Watt again doing his thing. Here we go. Let me get the stats. Guys, Jeff Driskel was 12 for 24 and 95 yards. And Joe Mixon had 13 attempts for 105. But again, you know, some of that is kind of skewed because, you know, he had the big run, but it's still a 100-yard rusher. But he didn't do nothing. He didn't do jack. Look, Alex Erickson has 63 yards of returns. No, I'm sorry, that was on receiving. On returns, let me see, do they show that? Yeah, he averaged 21.8 on his kick returns. Long of 26. But again, where he was receiving the ball, it wasn't that hard to do that. But we did good, man. I mean, you know, defensively we did great. Roethlisberger, 31 for 45, 287, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. That pick six, which, again, you take that pick six away, defense did their job. We struggled a little bit against a divisional opponent that was down quite a few men, but we finally got the win. And then we had to rely on the Browns, man. They had a chance, but again, it goes to show you the difference. You got to be aggressive. You have to make a team beat you. And I understand we might not have the best corners in the world, but Butler, you have to be aggressive, and he did it. We saw him do it in this game. You know, on the last drive for the Bengals, we did blitz. And maybe because, you know, it's a lesser quarterback, it's not Drew Brees, but still, you just can't sit in a cover four and you're not getting pressure, and Drew Brees is able to kill you with that dagger route. So, bottom line, the last thing I would say, man, before I start breezing through the comments, since I don't have, you know, I don't have the ability to get on Skype tonight, I'm going to try to sign in if I can while I sit here and talk to you guys. I forgot my password, so I apologize. But last thing I'm going to say here, man, is listen, we lost the playoffs well before this game. And well, obviously we won this game, but it was well before coming down to week 17 and hoping the Cleveland Browns win the game for you. We gave up 5 fourth-quarter leads of this season. We had the Chargers down 16 at halftime. We had it come down to one play against the Oakland Raiders. As bad as we played in that game, one play. You stop them on that 4th down, you win the game. You turned the ball over 4 times against the Denver Broncos and still had an opportunity to possibly win it. And, of course, we end the game ourselves on a turnover. We had plenty of chances this season. Had no business tying the Cleveland Browns in week 1. Cleveland has turned out to be a better team. But in week 1, if James Conner doesn't fumble that ball with 7 minutes or so left, you probably win that. You're up 21-7 and driving. Okay? So there were plenty of games that we should not have lost. New Orleans Saints, you got to give credit to the Saints and Drew Brees. But again, you got them in a 3rd and 20 with the lead. You give it up, they score, you get the ball back, drive down the field, and we fumble the ball away when we are in field goal range to potentially tie or possibly get a touchdown. So there you have it. It was indicative of what the Steelers season has been this year. Not a consistent unit on both sides of the ball for a full 60 minutes. The only time we kind of saw that come together was against Carolina. That's it. And maybe the Falcons. But that's it. We haven't had 60 minutes of offense, 60 minutes of solid defense. It's either one or the other. One unit plays great, the other unit not so great. And that's what our season has been. And we end 9-6-1, sitting on the outside of the playoffs, unless these two teams tonight end up with a tie, which I doubt it. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the comments, see what you guys got. I'll be sitting here and trying to, rap with you guys for a little while. Let's see what y'all got. Tony says, break it down, Kenya. Kenya says, Rivers hasn't won a Super Bowl. Oops, he hasn't even been to a Super Bowl, so stop. Ben, 3 Super Bowl appearances, Rivers 0. Okay, so somebody's saying something about Ben. I think it was Alan Woodall says, it's time to move on from Ben. While this offense is young, Mason Rudolph, before he got hurt in college, would have been a first-round pick. I kind of agree and disagree. I don't think it's time to move on from Ben, but I think it is time for us to recognize that Ben's better days, you know, we know what we're getting right now. And without having a defense that can really keep us in the game, and I'm talking about having a stout defense like the Ravens, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. RJ Broussard said, you regret letting Bell go? Listen, let's answer that really quick. The Steelers did not lose these games because of Le'Veon Bell. I love Le'Veon Bell. We did not. Let's get this straight really quick. And I want to keep it right here because I want to read some comments under that real quick. Can we stop saying that we let Le'Veon Bell go? Can we stop saying that the Steelers didn't try to pay him? Can we call the facts what the facts really are? The Steelers tried to do business with Le'Veon Bell the same way they do business with every other player, including Antonio Brown, outside of the quarterback. And we know it's different with quarterbacks. It's the way of the business. I hate it, but that's how it goes. It's the way of the business. Everybody pretty much does it the same, etc., etc. Outside of the quarterback on the Pittsburgh Steelers, they handle all of their players the same. Not a huge ton of guaranteed money, but a sizable contract. And in most cases, you're going to get the majority of your contract. That's how they do it. They offered Le'Veon Bell $70 million over 5 years. Le'Veon Bell was virtually guaranteed over $30 million in the first 2 years. I think his actual guarantee, fully guaranteed, regardless money, was around, I think they said it was around $12 million, something like that. And I get it. But virtually guaranteed, it was $33 million, I think, for the first 2 years because he had roster bonuses and all of that. Everybody in the world knows he would have been on the team for 2 years, at least. At the very worst, Bell would have been on the team for 4 years, and if they wanted to get rid of him, it might have been in his last year, which he would have made most of that money. So let's stop saying that they didn't pay him. Let's stop saying they just let him go. Le'Veon Bell decided that he did not want to be franchise tagged for a second year. Understandable. He did not sign his tenure, and therefore he didn't sign it by the due date, the deadline, and he couldn't play. That's what happened. He chose to sit out. So I'm sick of hearing, and I'm not picking on whoever just said that. I'm just talking about all of these other talking heads, the Max Kellermans of the world. I love Max Kellerman. I'm a boxing guy, so y'all know I love Max Kellerman. I love his analysis. But all these people saying how stupid the Steelers were, and I'm like, listen, no, they handled business the same way they've always done it. They're not going to change just for Le'Veon Bell. Let's not forget, excuse me, Le'Veon Bell was great. But let's not forget he didn't have some issues in his past with the team. Couple suspensions, injury history. So I'm just saying, we got to look at it from both sides of the field. And furthermore, Le'Veon Bell is not the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers defense could not close games when they had the lead. Do you want to talk about ball control? Yes, I agree with you. Does Le'Veon Bell give you ball security? Yes, I agree with you. And along with ball control, does Le'Veon Bell eat up clock and kill time of possession? More than likely, yes. Does he help with different play calls? Probably so. We may run the ball a little more. We were doing it with James Conner before he got hurt. So clearly you can see what we probably would want to do. However, but, regardless of how we got there, the Steelers were still in positions defensively to close games, and they didn't. Therefore, I'm not going to say because Le'Veon Bell wasn't there, that's why we didn't win the games. No, you're not going to sell me on that when we had the lead and our offense produced the same way. Then I might say, oh, okay, if we didn't produce the same, then I might look at it and say, oh, we're really missing him. But let's not forget, there was a time when most of you guys in here were saying we ain't missing him. We can't be results biased, man. I don't live by that creed. I just call it how it is. So all I'm going to say about that. Roland Young says, laugh out loud. All y'all talking about we need to move on from Ben and we'll be the main ones crying because y'all tripping. Y'all saw what this offense looks like without Ben. Good point there. Good point there. Let me move on down to the bottom here. Debbie says, and see what Bell does with the Jets in the AFC East. It is easy for the Patriots to stay strong when Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets changing coaches and quarterbacks every year. Yeah, you got a good point there, Debbie. Still, a gang said the same people that said we need Le'Veon Bell when we were losing, you don't hear none of them talk when we was winning. Listen, that's what I'm saying, man. And listen, I'm not trying to call anybody out. And I was telling my father-in-law, Leonard, this as I was watching the game. I said, man, I just don't. I have grown as a fan, and I've matured as a fan. Let me explain to you what I mean. And also now with me, quote unquote, covering the Steelers, I'm look at it more from a journalistic standpoint. I love this team with all my heart. I bleed black and yellow. This is my squad. I got a fat head of the Steelers helmet right here in front of me. I mean, I'm Steelers to the 9. I wear Steelers gear all the time. Love my Steelers. But I'm a little more objective now because, I mean, I don't get paid to do this technically, but I technically cover the team now. You know, I'm analyzing things. I analyze the culture. I know the culture, you know, just like Kenyon does. But I analyze the team and our talent and play calling. And, you know, I can see it from an objective eye. When I be telling you guys sometimes, I don't think we're going to win this such and such game, and we don't, it ain't always a shocker to me because I'm like, I didn't think we would. You see what I'm saying? So I don't get so crazy, and I don't let my emotions and the results, you know, feed my bias. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly how I feel about the Le'Veon Bell thing. Let's go back. Kenyon says, fair weather fans. Shakir Latif says, hey, y'all. What do you say? Hey, y'all, all can always be Cowboy fans when you're ready. It's enough room over here. Well, listen, Cowboy fan, can y'all win a couple, you know, more than 2 playoff games in the last 20 plus years? Just saying. Pump the brakes on that. Quawizm, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he says, excellent point you made about Bell not being the reason for the losses. Defense did not allow for us to close. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jesse Williams says, we don't need Bell. We need a better defense. If you watch the season, you can see what's wrong with the team not able to close out games on defense. Fully agree. Marlon Nicholson said that our defensive backs have been trash for years. I'm sick and tired of seeing more, let me go back up, more tight bum and run coverage. More tight bump and run coverage. The Ravens can't be the only ones know how to coach that type of defense. That's what I'm saying, man. We got to be more aggressive out here. We have to be more aggressive. And like you said, our defensive backs are really not that great. Oh, we got good time right now. We had about 33 minutes. They're not great. They're just not. They're just not. They're just not. Let's see what else y'all got out here. Mariana Papa says, we don't miss Bell, we miss Shazier. Hey, that we definitely do. And even though we know Shazier, you know, he had his issues as well, but you clearly can see where he's missed. A lot of those plays, his speed makes up for the deficiency, especially in the middle of the field. Just remember some of the best plays we've seen Shazier make. Some of those interceptions. Remember that interception he got against the Ravens in Baltimore last year? How he played the run and then still was able to get out and pick the ball off that was going to the tight end? How he used to shut down screens a lot. How he used to cover sideline to sideline. We are definitely missing Ryan Shazier. Speaking of that, let me put a pause on the chat real quick. Did y'all see LJ Fort out there? LJ Fort played a good game today with Vince Williams being down. And I've heard some of you guys say that you'd rather see him start over Vince Williams. Kind of a bold statement, but I don't know. You know, he kind of convinced me today that we need to keep LJ Fort around, at least as a rotational piece. Who else was it out there today? And I didn't realize this. Sean Davis didn't play. I didn't know that until watching the game. We saw a lot of Dangerfield. I saw Marcus Allen out there getting time. Very interesting, man. So again, that could be part of the reason why we struggled a little bit. We didn't have all of our starting, you know, back end. in the secondary. And then also, again, without Antonio Brown, it showed itself. It really showed itself right there. What else y'all got? I'm going to stay on for about 4 or 5 more minutes. Jesse George says, Joe Hayden is a great number 2 corner, but we need a Jalen Ramsey on the opposite side. I think we could get someone similar in the draft, early first round, hopefully, and then a middle linebacker, then a safety. Problem is, guys, we still ain't going to have a super high pick. Look at the records. 9-6-1 is still, I think as of right now, we already down at 20. If I'm not mistaken, we at like 20 right now as far as draft picks. Because, well, yeah, or maybe a little earlier than that. But if it's 32 teams, 12 gets in the playoffs, I think the Steelers has like the next best record out of those 12 that's going to make it. Which means, yeah, we're going to be at like 20. And who knows? It might be high enough to get. Look at how the Cowboys got your boy last year, this past draft, Van Der Esch, which we could have used Leighton Van Der Esch. So 20 might get us and put us in a decent position, but we'll see, man. We'll have to look and see, you know, where the draft is top heavy at or what have you. Yeah, we picked number 20. Okay, I was right. Jaden the Ghost says, I thought we were in the wild card round. Nope. The Ravens had to lose today, and or if the Indianapolis Colts and the Titans tie tonight, which it doesn't look like they will, then we can still make it, but we're done. It definitely was a wild season, man. Y Diggy says, the spot don't really matter if Colbert botches the pick. Very true fact right there. More AGWS says, I was just at the game, man. I hope you had a good time out there. I thought about coming out to the game today too, man, but I decided against it. Nightwolf says, the good teams except for New England are where they are because they have lost for the seasons. I don't know what you're saying. I'm missing something out of your comment right there. Sean Lee, or is he too injury prone? Yeah, I don't think Sean Lee. Kenyon, let me throw this at you, man. Leonard was telling me during the game that Quan Alexander is a free agent. But if I'm not mistaken, don't Tampa runs a 4-3, right? So because of that, I'm not quite sure how he would fit in our scheme. I mean, you could probably make it work. Funny thing is, last week, man, after I was looking at the all-22, we actually ran 4-3 a couple times last week. We had 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. Yeah, we did against the Saints. Not that often, but we sprinkled it out there like once or twice. But what y'all think about that guy, about Alexander? And again, I think he's a 4-3 linebacker, so I don't know. You know, obviously your role is definitely going to change pretty significantly. Some people don't realize how different that is from a 4-3 to a 3-4 in terms of your inside guy. But let me know what y'all think. Let me see. Todd Bowles as a D coordinator? Not, hey, I take it. Even if your boy, you know, what y'all think about Marvin Lewis if he gets fired? You know, he made his hay as a D coordinator. What would y'all think about that? You think Tomlin might reach out to him? Could be interesting. JJ said we might change to a 4-3. Huh? Yeah, we better get a stud at linebacker if we're going to do that in that middle. I mean a stud. A stud. Now, I think, to be honest, on the D-line, we might have the guys to do it, you know, right now. We're going to need some pieces. But you think about throwing Heyward out there with Hargrave, with Tuitt, and maybe a guy like a Lualu. You know, we're going to need some more pieces, but I think you could build off of those 3 guys, and we might be able to, you know, tackle a 4-3. When we ran it last week, they brought McCullers in. So it's possible, but we're going to need a stud in the middle if we're going to do that. Y'all said, no, never that. Nightwolf, you said we will never be a 4-3. Well, let's not forget. Let's not forget in the Steel Curtain days, what was we running? Y'all remember that? When we had 4 defensive linemen? Yeah. We were running a 4-3 when we were dominating. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm too young to, you know, I didn't see those games. Obviously, I wasn't around, but I've seen film. Let's see. I think that's going to be it, guys. I apologize I couldn't get Skype going tonight, man. I promise I'll have it going by Tuesday. If you guys want to call in, you know, I'll get my password changed, or I will try to remember my password so I can sign into it and get you guys on. But I'll take one or two more here. Why Diggy says we ran a Tampa 2 type defense during the Steel Curtain days. Matthew Thomas never got a chance. And there's probably a reason for that, guys. We can't act like we know more than the coaches. Sim Steeler Gang says, Sim, no, we good, Marvin. Debbie says she don't think the Steelers have a true 4-3 personnel right now. We don't. Big Dro says, who do you think will go to the Super Bowl? I'm not ready to make that decision right now. I'm going to wait a little bit. Maybe we'll hold that until Tuesday, until I really see how the field is lining up. Cam Sutton to me is a bust. Yay or nay? I mean, he's a third rounder. So, you know, do you call those guys busts? The Hawk says 3-4 works, but unlike the 90s and the early 2000s, way more teams are playing it, and getting that good linebackers are much harder. That is a very good fact. And just like Nightwolf said, the Ravens are running a 3-4 and they're doing just fine. And the Ravens, yeah, they run a hybrid. Watch out for the Bears. Yeah, that defense could be something. Le'Veon Bell gets the last laugh. Okay, how? Let me ask you something. I'm gonna close it with this, and I want you guys to comment. And this is gonna be to Ray Arvizu. Do y'all think the Steelers win the Super Bowl this year if Le'Veon Bell played? Honest answer. Look at how our team has played defensively. Let's just go there. Do y'all think the Pittsburgh Steelers win the Super Bowl this year if Le'Veon Bell would have been on the team? Can we not? When are we gonna stop acting like Le'Veon Bell hasn't been on the team for 5 years? No wins, no rings. I'm just saying that. So results been driven, man. It was so results driven. There it is. I mean, look, everybody's saying it. No. That's what I'm saying. And I'll close it with this, man. Our team just wasn't. I think we were a little overrated this year. I think our hearts got in the way. We weren't that good. Now, we turned out to be better than we thought when we went out there and we beat the Falcons. That was my first eye-opener, like, whoa. Because, again, I already thought our defense wasn't that great when I saw, excuse me, what the Chiefs did to us in week 2. I didn't know the Chiefs would be what they are now. I believed in Mahomes. But in week 2, I was like, whoa, we ain't ready to prepare. You know, we're not ready against these guys. So I'm thinking when we played Atlanta, it was going to be much of the same. You're thinking Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They got the 2 great running backs. And I'm like, we're going to get blown out. And we smoked them. Then we started playing other games. I'm like, okay, Baltimore came into our house, got us. We went to Baltimore, got that game. Okay, we went to Cincinnati, got that game. Started looking good. We ended up 7-2-1. I'm like, okay. And remember what I said. When we were 7-2-1, I said, listen, if we can get to 10 wins, I think we're going to win this thing. I was right. Had we ended up 10-5-1, we would have won the division. Regardless of what the Ravens, how they ended up 10-6, we would have won at 10-5-1. I said that weeks ago. If we get to 10-5-1, we'll be okay. I expected us to not win the Charger game. I expected us to not win the Saints game. I expected us to not win the Patriots game because I didn't trust our defense. Never thought that we were going to mess around, have the struggle that we had against Jacksonville, since Jacksonville has been so bad. You know, their defense wasn't the same, wasn't playing the same. I thought, man, we'll go down there, we're going to be tough, we should be able to win. Barely snuck that out. Never thought the Denver game would turn out the way it did, with all those turnovers, and we lose that game. Never thought we would lose to Oakland at 2-10, or whatever they was at the time. And those are the games we lost. Then we come home and we go bananas against the Chargers. I'm like, okay. Then we gave that game up. We come back, get our revenge against the Patriots, feeling decent. Wasn't feeling good going into New Orleans, and look at that. We were in position to win that game. So the helter-skelter type of team, I was like, okay, listen. If we put our cards together, if we put everything in order, this team could play with anybody. It seemed like it. But what happened was what we've always been seeing this whole season, man. They just couldn't close when they needed to close. And those games costed them. One game costed them. One. All they had to do was get to 10-5-1, and we'd be playing somebody, be playing the Chargers next week for a rematch back in Heinz Field. And there you have it. So that's all I got, man. So on Tuesday, we'll take a look at the film. You know, we'll talk a little bit about looking ahead. We'll talk a little bit about who we expect to get to the Super Bowl and things like that. And, you know, I think what I'm going to start doing going forward, I want to keep Terrible Towel going all year if we can. You know, we may take a small break. But what I'm going to start doing, man, is, you know, doing some, you know, year assessments, like go in and take a look at, you know, each position and where we fared, and look at some of the top guys, you know, defensively, offensively, see the type of seasons they had, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to make it fun, start doing some, you know, guys that we want to look forward to in the draft and things like that. So we'll keep it interesting. I want to get some more of you guys to come on during that time too, man, to feel some more conversation. But that's about all I got. So we'll go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Love y'all to death, man. It's too bad we couldn't get to the playoffs. But again, this week wasn't the week that lost it for us. We lost it a long time ago. And if you want to look at any game, the worst one was probably the Oakland game. We had to win that one. We didn't. And this is where we are now. So there you have it. Let's see if there's anything that's going to be happening tomorrow in terms of if staff is already going to be, you know, because, you know, Monday is a lot of times when people's season is over, you start hearing some things. So let's see. Let's see if there's some shockers and there's some coach changes. And let's see if some of you guys get your wish. You know, and if Tomlin is gone. Who knows? I doubt it. But, hey, some of y'all would love that. So we'll see what we got to talk about on Tuesday. Outside of that, catch you guys later. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button. Cut on your notifications. And we'll catch you on Tuesday. All right? Y'all be good. See y'all on Tuesday. Peace.